if I can blame anything and everything on fate, then I have no responsibility in it. And like I'm talking external things, then I have no responsibility in it. But if you come down the ladder of external events and then my external choices, and then at the very bottom it's like my thoughts, and you point out to people that they have a choice in that, that means they also have to take on the responsibility of making those choices. And that is not something that many people are excited to look into.
It's true.
This is Other Maria, the podcast of our real-life conversations about personal evolution, society, relationships, spirituality, and everything else. We're getting vulnerable in these good faith talks and sometimes respectfully disagreeing about which of us is wrong. Just kidding, there's no right and wrong. We're just two friends sitting around talking shit. Wait, talking about deep shit, right? That's what we're doing? Yeah, enjoy.
Hi.
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 Welcome. I'm just kidding.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Maria's got a stand and headphones today.
We're fucking around and finding out how this will work. I feel good about it though. The stand went really well last time.
Good.
I did not give myself a fidget gadget though, so
Oh yeah.
brace yourself.
I think it should
I have my foot behind my head in a minute here.
Just your foot hanging over the mic stand.
Yeah. Oh my God, how are you?
I mean, living the dream
Fuck yeah.
every single day.
Is it your dream or someone else's?
Someone else's fever dream, but
Right.
I'm happy to participate.
That's the go-to rhetoric. Okay.
How are you doing?
Love it. I'm good. I'm increasingly feeling more just like me. Like you were saying before, stable footing.
Yes.
Like I just, maybe like a week and a half ago, was able to start getting back to work stuff, like creative stuff and also contract stuff, or looking for it. And then I had this like really fun weekend gig that fell into my lap, and more consistently in a state that feels familiar of just like being like happy.
Yeah, totally.
Which just hasn't been around for a couple months. So that feels really good, man.
Yay.
Feels good. I went on like a cleaning frenzy.
Oh yeah, duh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how did I not notice?
So now we're back to like baseline.
Yes.
For the first time in like a month and a half.
Definitely.
Oh, it was so funny too, because yesterday morning before I went to the gig, I was like, should I go to the gym? And like not knowing what the day would entail, like thank God I didn't go to the gym. I wouldn't have made it. But I like fucked around for too long, and then I was like, well, now I don't have time to go to the gym. And then I just like felt inspired to start cleaning shit. So I like cleaned a bunch, got everything back to like the way that I like to have it reasonably clean, and put away all the laundry pile, and then went to work and forgot that I had done that. And when I walked in,
oh my gosh, yes.
it was amazing. And like I got a little hit of like being sad that there was no one here right before I was opening the door.
Sure.
And then I opened the door and it looked beautiful in here, and I was like, oh my God, thank you, past me.
Yeah.
God, I'm so glad I did that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been like a month and a half of just like what feels like just
totally
to me. So that's good. Feels really good.
Good.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I am now, update from last episode.
Go on.
I know. Go on. Okay, Jon Stewart. Do you remember that?
Oh.
I forget what he was talking about, but he just like so perfectly was like, go on. On like some old episode. It was perfect. He sounded just like him. No, I am now at an offensively high level in several phone games.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Got it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And thank you, Papa DT, for introducing me to a new crossword game.
What's the game?
It's like crosswords something. I'll send it to you. I had him airdrop it to me. It was cute.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, but also like that came up in a conversation with some friends this morning too, where my one friend is doing this media fast. I guess her thing was like social media, and I'm not, just barely ever on that, if at all, and only for business. But I've been starting to feel like the addictive quality of being on my phone playing games pop up at times. And to me, that's just like, this is not really enjoyable.
Yeah.
You know, and then I keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I don't want to be doing this as much anymore. But at the same time, I'm on horrible levels, like really bad.
Level 132.
Oh,
no.
Oh, no.
Of the crossword?
Oh, the crossword?
Okay. Oh.
Crossword maybe like 9 or something.
Okay. Is it one crossword per level?
I think so.
Okay.
Well, it's more just like puzzles you've completed.
Okay.
Maybe completed like 8 or 9.
Okay.
I don't want to bore you with the rest of it though, but the other ones are absurd.
Well, no,
like,
now I really want to play it.
I think they maybe for the other 2 games I've been playing have
that
maybe
is like
had
500,
to
like
oh, much worse. I think they had to hire a new team to come up with more levels because they're like, there's this one bitch in Chicago that won't quit. Like, we're trying to show her all the ads, but she's really hanging on.
level 2800. I'm going to keep trying.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything anymore.
I just watched this really cute video on Instagram of a 98-year-old dad who didn't know how old he was. And he didn't seem to have any like severe dementia. So I don't really know what that was about, but
I mean, I don't know how old I am usually.
that's totally true. But it was so crazy. He was like 79 and his son is like higher and he's like 89 and he's like higher and he's like 90 higher. And then he's like 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 8. And then he's like 90. He's like 8 and he's like, that's it. You're 98. And he was like, your ass. And then he was like, what the fuck? Or like something like that. Like holy
so
fuck.
Cute.
He's like, how did I get so old so fast? And it was like amazing.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
That's so adorable.
It was just so funny to be 98 and guess you're 79. Hell
yeah.
Great.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I'm working with, I feel like.
I know.
Although by 98, that's incredible.
I know.
Also, I feel like it'd be really fun if we could just forget our age.
I know.
You know, and then like on occasion, just for fun, have like a check-in or something, but and be like, "How old do you think you are?" And be like, I don't know." But then also forget it. Like, just do it for fun.
So everybody should just be like you. You always forget by a year.
At least, yes.
How old are we, Maria?
Fuck me. 38. Yes. Okay.
Nailed it.
Well, I get confused.
28?
Well, because 40 feels like the closest number to just like attach to
Sure.
for me. But then I feel like I'm like 24 maybe. And then yesterday when I was at that job, like the boss was like, we're like doing all this physical labor and he's like, how old are you? 23? And I was like, I was like, I'm a lot more than that. And he goes, 26? And I was like, I love you, man. I'm going to go. I didn't even answer him.
You do that. You're like so ominous. You're good at it. You're like, wouldn't you like to know? Bye.
Oh, man. No, it's cool, though, because, like, I just feel like if someone doesn't know how old they are, what blissful ignorance because of all the shit we attach to it. You know, it was actually really cute. I didn't tell you this. So there's this couple that lives in my building that I'm just
obsessed with.
They're so fucking cute, and they're
She
just the
loves them.
sweetest.
They are really
sweetest
sweet.
people,
Yeah.
and they seem like they're probably really fascinating. Like I want
Yes.
to know their story.
Yes.
I'll probably tell them about this at some point. But I see the guy in the stairwell some mornings. He's like going down, and I'm running the stairs. Like
Stairwell
every
story.
time, he's just like, "Yeah, good for you." Like I'm not there. Like maybe one day. And I was joking with him one day. I was like, "If I catch you in there again, I'm gonna make you run a lap with me." But then I saw them the other morning. He was like, "Oh, you didn't work out this morning," and there's both of them there. And I was like, "No, maybe later though today." And he's like, "Yeah, I just can't get it." And I was like, "No, you will when you do if you want to. Like just whatever. Don't attach it. He's like, maybe when I'm older. And I was like, well, yeah, there you go. Because, you know, age is just an illusion. And they both were like, yeah. And the woman, she was just like, thank you for saying that. I like that. It's like, yeah, yeah, sure. But we like, people get attached to like, I'm this old and therefore, you know, and we do that. I remember we did that. Well, I know I flipped the fuck out in my early 30s about like, I'm this old, therefore I should be able to do this, have this, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I didn't know how old I was and hadn't attached all these stories to it, I wouldn't give a shit.
I know. Well, yeah, because it's like the second we were born, we started to be told we were like old.
Yes.
We're aging. You're going to have this by this age.
Right.
And we're all still trying to like rewire that stuff. Yeah, the amount of millennials right now that are where we're at, which isn't a bad thing. I know we know that, but I'm just saying where it's like where we're at in that we're not like married, 2.5 children, a house, a career, like
Right.
So many of us are still trying to work through. I mean, I know I am. I don't know, actually. I guess I've always been like, I don't want to be attached to that stuff, but it's there.
Yeah. You have always been more chill about that, of like, I'm making my own path kind of thing. And like, I'll figure it out, quote unquote, when I do. And I don't know, just like way more accepting of like.
I'm starting to feel the pull now. Thankfully, it's not too like, there's fear, but it's not too much of that. It's more the pull to start to set goals like I haven't. So I've gone the other direction.
Right.
That now is the time to be like, what would you want? And then
what if I played with some goal setting?
Correct.
What would that be like?
What would that be like?
Yeah. Wait, there was one other thing I was going to say about that too, which is I think just like the markers again of like not just like age, but like the markers of like what is successful.
Right.
Or like what determines I have it figured out.
Right.
Or whatever.
Oh my gosh, totally.
Because
that's the thing. Yeah. Like it's the whole like, what are the markers of I have it figured out? Yeah. Right. Like anybody ever has it figured out till the day they die. So that could actually segue into our free will chat. I feel like even the way we perceive life is a choice, which that's how my brain connected free will.
Say more, because I think everything's a choice. Not that we exercise them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is juicy. This is great.
Well, you know, there's always so much debate around free will. Okay, I was listening to the Vile Files, and Nick Vile, who runs the podcast, he was like on about the phrase, everything happens for a reason. Mm-hmm. And he was like so adamantly arguing that that's not the case. Things don't just happen for a reason. They happen because of our choices. And I just wanted to shout at him and be like, isn't that a reason?
Yes.
Whether or not that's the black and white answer, I'm just saying, isn't that a reason?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so it was like, because I wasn't really disagreeing with his argument. I felt like his argument.
He didn't have it on like a solid foundation.
Not to say like I'm more right than he is or something. There was no one there. No, but there was no one there.
Remember, that's the whole premise of this
podcast,
right
or wrong. And there is one or the other. Yeah, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Good and bad, black and white.
You've answered correctly.
Yay.
But
Gold star, please.
But it was so interesting. There was no one there to challenge him.
Yeah.
Because, okay, also what I have noticed about his podcast is he's like 43 and all the people around him are like in their mid-20s. And like, great. Mm-hmm. Love them all. It's so great. But it's kind of set up that way, I think, for a reason to make him the like wise voice. Because he basically just gives advice on this podcast. A lot of it.
Right.
It's a lot of like pop culture following. He has 2 episodes a week and one is just called Ask Nick. So it's just relationship advice. So he's very advice oriented, which I love because I do it. I really like his show a lot. But there was no one there. Like they still haven't figured out what they believe, like even less than he has.
Right.
Because they're younger.
Which, like, quick interjection.
Yeah.
I feel like that's more the determinant of age than the number. It's like, how do you feel about what you've figured out so far?
Yeah. And like they were very waffly. Like, feel like they wanted to be like, I kind of think things happen for a reason. But it's like they were having that conversation with a stubborn scientist who was like, no, science is science is science. It has all the right answers. The end. Proven. And so you're just kind of like, I don't really know and they're like, well, science, you know, and you're like, but I don't but okay, yeah, no, but I know what you mean. You know, they were just kind of like waffling a lot, and I wanted to just jump in. But anyway, I thought that was really interesting, trying to say that, like, I think it's all because of our choices, and our choices govern what happened to us. Things don't just happen to us. It's because of our choices. And I was like, well, right, then the choices would be the reason.
No,
like,
absolutely.
It's not that.
Absolutely. Which like reminds me too of just sort of how, I mean, I guess I was taught to believe, and I'm not my parents, but like just societally, that like you have to have a reason for doing everything, or like all your choices, you have to have a reason. And I just wanted to give a quick plug that I want to is a good enough reason for anything. Genuinely, like I want to. Great, do that thing. And like if you're being honest with yourself, because I know people are gonna be like, well, what about if you say you want to kill someone? Like, if you're being honest with yourself, that's never gonna be something that you want to do. So don't worry about it.
I mean, I think that's right. If you're even asking that question, then you're not gonna go murder someone. I don't know. I know it's because people want to just go to the like extremes to just not even face what's in front of them about themselves.
Yes.
They're like, so you tell murderers it's okay? And it's like, that's not even what we're talking about.
No, because that doesn't even exist in that realm.
And also, sure, I don't know, go murder someone. No, I'm just kidding. But like, sure.
But if anything, you're the authority on that, to be honest.
Thank you. I am a murderer.
I don't know.
But I mean, I don't actually mean go murder people. Like,
no, of course
I guess
not.
no, I know,
Yeah.
you know, but I think, yeah, we're just making the point. It gets made to be so extreme.
Right. But what you were saying about the choices in
Yes.
front of them, I think so much of the free will versus fate or destiny or whatever debate is hinged on the requisite amount of responsibility. I was having a conversation with my dad actually a couple weeks ago. That was so cool because we were like on the same wavelength talking about a specific point, which is just that we're more in control of our thoughts than really we're taught to believe.
Right.
And I think I told you this, but it was like actually very Abraham Hicksy. But it was like, if I can blame anything and everything on fate, then I have no responsibility in it. And like I'm talking external things, and I have no responsibility in it. But if you come down the ladder of external events and then my external choices, and then at the very bottom it's like my thoughts, and you point out to people that they have a choice in that, that means they also have to take on the responsibility of making those choices. And that is not something that many people are excited to look into.
It's true. Because then they're just like, well, I don't know. It just happened to me.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Sure.
Oh my God. This mic stand is my fidget spinner today. Oops. Anyway.
I just want to point out very quickly.
Yes.
Every week there is so much technology issues, and for whatever reason, it does not feel like we are forcing anything at all, ever, not for a moment. But there's just so much shit being thrown in our way to like get this fucking podcast out every week. And I'm really proud of us.
Yeah, no, totally. Because it is.
Because we're just like, no, I want this.
It's bananas.
It's
bananas to produce it too. It's like,
I know. Oh my God.
When you don't know what you're doing, this has been the funniest journey.
And just like having to like
figuring
learn
it out as you go.
Dude, I had to learn entirely new software last week.
Yeah.
It was.
I'm so proud of you for all that stuff. And I'm grateful because you like. You had many frustrating days, multiple frustrating days of trying to get this stupid
But we
thing.
want this. High five.
Want it.
See, we strapped me in and you became the fidgeter.
I know. I just don't want it to be blown out so that you have trouble. I think I need to always go lower.
Yeah.
When they go low, I go lower.
Keep going lower. From the window to the wall. Hashtag Michellegan's part of our to 2023.
Don't ask. Last episode, the lyric stuff was so funny.
Oh my God, that's right.
Oh my God, it was so
That's
funny.
right. That was fun. Oh shit, I meant to come up with more. Besides the ones I drop into everyday conversation. Wave it back to...
Free will.
So, well, you know what? Remind me, because it's been a while since we've had this conversation. What are your thoughts?
Free will?
Free will versus fate, or just on its own, or like, how do you think life in the universe and consciousness functions?
I think.
What am I doing wrong?
Everything. No, I
know,
think
right?
free will absolutely exists where we live on this planet. Free will is a very important part of our existence. But I think a lot of the stuff we talk about.
It's in the Bible.
Correct. I think that everything that we talk about, actually probably all of them exist at the same time, and that's where our brains break.
Hashtag quantum.
Yeah, and hashtag paradox. It's basically the science versus spirituality conversation. It's always a versus, because that we are framed right now.
Quick interjection. Did I tell you that thing? I swear I wrote it down somewhere. I'm gonna fuck it up. But that thing about God exists within paradox.
That sounds familiar, but...
Okay. It was something I found on Gaia, but at some point in an episode, someone was just like, God is in the paradox.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was like, yeah.
That's where our little baby human brains are breaking right now. Because we're starting to get it. We're just at the start. You see it in the zeitgeist with yes and both and, that phrase. That's paradox. We're learning to hold two things to be true at once that feel like they're opposing. That's that energy playing out.
Yes. And that's coming up. Like within the last, well, like five years, has it really gotten a hold? Yeah.
Yeah. Just like with therapy, just with the like spirituality conversations.
Instead of this, that, and the other, but something opposing, it's this, that, and the other, and the opposing thing.
Exactly.
That holding.
I think it's humanity trying to understand that we're going to have to make room for every single human being's perspective, because everybody's got a different perspective and a different reality.
Yep.
But how can that be true if we're all like sharing this reality? And that's like breaking everybody's brains right now.
Yep.
You know? And so in your own personal life, you see it when you're like...
Well, and that's the thing though too, like really quickly, it's breaking people's brains because they're trying to understand it.
Sure.
And
instead of feel it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, and I just always go back to this, like if I'm trying to understand beyond a reasonable degree, if I'm trying to like understand, and I'm not talking about like a math problem, but if I'm trying to understand a concept or a philosophy or something like that, if I'm trying to figure out something that is much bigger and more nuanced, if I'm trying to like figure it out or understand it or have a hold on it, it's because I'm grasping for control because I'm uncomfortable with just feeling the, what's the word? Ambiguity?
Sure.
Of it.
Yeah.
And that just goes hand in hand with what you're saying. Like we're learning to hold two things that could potentially, the end result is ambiguity or paradox.
And I think I would say to what you just said, everyone starts with trying to understand something.
Of course. Sure.
I think I'm just putting it out there for the listeners. It's okay to start with the curiosity and the wanting to understand. That's important. That's like a necessary step. It's when you find yourself bashing your head against the wall and like creating more strained, resistant energy and like having trouble with the concept.
If you're tired and you're fucking forcing yourself to get through it.
Forcing it, starting to get angry, starting to all those things, that's like a great sign too. But that just means that it's time to like let it go a bit and let it exist. Or try to go experience it, because that's a good way to feel it too. Like, go talk to someone that you disagree with and try to keep an open mind and see if you can at least feel into the fact that you didn't hate them after you left, even though you guys didn't agree. It's that feeling of like, yeah, you and I don't agree on this thing, but that doesn't mean that I can't be friends with you or can't even like have kindness towards you or just accept that that's true. That means your truth is true and my truth is true. Both are true at the same time.
And holy mindfuck, yeah.
Yeah. And then that's the paradox. But I think that's what I think about free will. And it's broken my brain before, because the thing too for me, these concepts, I think of them first, I wonder about them, I might start bashing my head against a wall, and then I start to have the like feeling into it thing, and like I've gotten better with practice, obviously. But like feel into it, have an experience of it, and then actually kind of integrate like, oh yeah. And then you go back to thinking about it from a new lens, but you're still, but you're thinking about it again.
But from a new lens.
From a new lens,
Absolutely.
But you are like considering it now intellectually.
Right. Well, and I think it's that cycle of like the introduction of a new concept, which is intriguing, and then you learn about it, and then it breaks your brain, and then you either go down the path of bashing your head against the wall, or maybe you do that and the next thing, and then you get to this point of just like, I accept that I don't understand it, because you're feeling more into it.
Right.
Which feeling into it or experiencing it, like you said, like go out and experience it, then gives you a new lens. And it's like that spiral that we always talk about, like the spiral of like progress or like myriad other things, where you can be in a situation that feels so similar as before and you think, oh my God, how did I get back here? But you're not back there.
Right.
You just had that same, like you saw the same landscape or whatever, but from a lower point because you're spiraling upwards. So you kind of get like the same.
And so you're on the lower part of a spiral, but you're still going upward. And so you're going to circle back to something that you've experienced in the past.
Like when you're in a parking garage.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
And like on the first level, you see the same, you see like Western or whatever. And then you circle back. I don't know why I chose Western. And you circle up to the second level. And like you see the same buildings, but it's a new view. Yeah. Because you're much higher up. Mm-hmm. And you just keep going. And apparently there's some high rises on Western. I don't know.
And then you find high rises and you're like, what the fuck?
Brain break. Before. What'd you say?
Brain break. Yeah. So I think that I don't know, destiny's a tricky one for me. I guess what I was saying was coming back to the intellectual part of it then. It's like we just are using these human words, right? So like the ones we use a lot are fate and destiny, or that like, do you have a set path or like whatever. And I do think that some of that's at play, and that's where it gets vague because I'm just like, some of that's at play. Like, well, what? I don't know. But what the evidence shows of literal experience on this planet for all of us is that things happen that are out of our control, that we don't choose. They just happen.
Everything's out of our control.
Except for our choices.
Free will. Yeah.
I mean, which is the paradox.
Yeah.
It's like everything's out of our control and nothing is out of our control. All at the same time.
Yeah.
That's what's confusing. Because every time this fucking question
No, you nailed it with that.
They're
well, you nailed my belief as well with that.
Sure. Yes. But like it's framed that way. Always competing. It's always, do you believe in free will or do you believe in fate and destiny? I believe in all of them. Yeah. Like I think that there may be some sort of destiny. But the other thing is, I guess where it becomes more tricky for me is the quantum field stuff, where I do think that infinite possibilities exist. And I think that that's just true, so that anything actually is possible. So like, even if you came to this planet with a destiny, I don't want to say like fulfill sounds like you did something wrong if you didn't fulfill. It has this like other
you
negative.
Can intersect with it.
But like, yeah, you can play around with it. You can do whatever you want once you're here.
Yeah.
So you may have paths in your way to get you to a certain destiny, and you may or may not choose to take those paths.
Right.
So then I think that a lot of shit just gets written once you die and your life has actually happened, rather than it being like X, Y, and Z is going to happen.
Sure.
Or it could just be like, okay, now I'm getting to, okay.
No, come on, give it.
But I was going to say, like, I feel like probably also all of us are destined to certain things in our lives because the energy was like so strong for those things to happen before we got here. Mm-hmm. That like so many paths are going to point us in that direction no matter what our choice is.
Right. Yeah.
Not to say that that takes out the free will. Like that's what's confusing about it.
No, of course not. Yeah, no. And I think as you're talking, because I really haven't tried to explain my own feelings about it in quite a while. Like I have a sense of it and I can speak to it in certain contexts. But as you're talking, I'm asking myself, do I feel like certain things are unavoidable?
Yeah.
In my life. You know, my poem, no matter what, we're going to Rome. Mm-hmm. And for me, the proverbial Rome is, I really think that no matter what in this lifetime, I will be a mother to a human, and I will have a long-term partner. Mm-hmm. I don't know if those things are connected. I don't know if they're overlapping. I don't know when they're going to happen or how or anything like that. I just know that whatever choices I make, at some point, I will have those experiences.
Sure.
Other like negative things that you could put that idea up against, like if certain things are inevitable, like what about a negative thing? Like were you always destined to like get hit by a truck or something?
Right.
I don't think so. And I can't really back that up. But as you were talking, I was sort of thinking about trying to illustrate that difference in how I feel about negative or positive things. And I don't know if it's just because like we're so positive and not toxically so, but just so
Optimistic. I mean,
yeah,
whatever the word.
optimistic and faithful and whatever else. But I just think that the overwhelming majority of choices that I could make and the clarity around them will lead me to those things. And for me to like die alone in a gutter instead, there's probably a path for that, but it would be very hard for me to access at this point. Like I could make the choices that lead there, but
Well, that feels like momentum.
maybe. Say more?
Definitely. Well, like what Abraham has talked about. Like, some things are like, there's so much momentum. Like she always does that metaphor of like the car going down a hill with like no brakes or something. And so like you would not try to like get in front of the car while it's barreling down the hill because there's no way to stop it. I mean, like you're going to just get run over by this car because there's so much momentum. And I think that's something that is useful for all of us in trying to shift our experiences from more negative ones to more positive ones, or thoughts from more negative ones, more positive ones. It's getting some momentum behind you, and you have so much momentum behind you. Because arguably there have been darker times in your life, right? Where like
There's no argument there.
inarguably there have been darker times in your life, right? Where
Hashtag 20s.
But I think that's where it takes this like severe takeover.
That's a fair point.
Right. That like we have the power to do. I think that's where the free will comes in. No matter like what higher power helped you through whatever you got through, you made those choices.
Agreed.
Even if you like made the choice to listen to your higher power or like be in touch with your God or your higher self.
Absolutely. And I think
you chose it.
Those are really good ones to point to, I
Right.
think, because I don't know, say more about that. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, I think it's just, it's the momentum. I don't know what I was going to say, but yeah, I think you have so much momentum going now that like it isn't really possible and it's always possible because anything's possible. But it is less and less and less and less possible the more momentum we put behind ourselves to shift our perspectives, our thought processes, our belief systems. That's where it's all like hidden in the intellectual part, because we all lean on the intellectual so much right now.
Right. You were also saying the choice to, like, where we show up in that continuum of, I make a choice to, like, put on pants instead of shorts, right? Like, that's obvious. Versus, like, what you were saying, anyone, like, makes a choice to, like, listen to their heart or whatever.
Totally.
Say more about that.
I mean, I think the example of an addict is a really good one. But anybody, even somebody who's like severely depressed or suicidal, that's going to take a hard course correct. Because if you've got a lot of momentum behind it, you may end up killing yourself. And that happens. And that's okay.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of people on the planet still as well who have attempted suicide. And maybe they've done it more than once even. But we're also going to meet a lot of people who have attempted in the past and like never will again. And have really course corrected and gotten a whole new momentum going behind them.
Right. And all the choices that could go into that. I mean, I have no experience in this realm, so I would just take all of this loosely. But yeah, I think for someone to suicide or addiction or whatever.
We're going to like the extremes because they're like
To illustrate
they're
the
good
point.
examples,
Yes.
right? To illustrate the point.
But to course correct from that into the other infinite possible options, there is so much choice on their part involved. And that's not to, like, choice and blame are not, blame's not part of this.
No.
At all.
Nowhere.
But choice in that, like when you said that, I just thought, yeah, like they made a choice to, after something happened, like whatever event happens, and then the choice to like maybe pick up the phone, maybe be willing to talk to someone, then maybe be willing to listen to that person, then making the choice to pay more attention to their own thoughts and feelings, making the choice to sit with hard things, making a choice to
Let go.
let go. God, that's a good one.
I know. Because that's all that keeps coming to my mind too, because I feel like some people, not some people. When I say some people, it's like me.
When we say some people, it's usually like I used to do this thing and like I'm still struggling to not do it in a lot of cases too.
There it is. That's the one. That's what some people mean. If that wasn't clear.
We're changing the name of the podcast.
If that wasn't clear. Yeah. But I feel like me in the past and still.
And also some people.
And also some people. This goes back to, I could imagine hearing choices as actions. And I would say that it's good not to get tripped up on the idea that choices mean actions. For instance, someone who's struggling and then chooses to...
Damn girl.
Someone who chooses to... Because I can imagine someone in a really dark place being like, I didn't even feel like a choice.
Sure.
Right? That voice is in my head. Yeah. Didn't even feel like a choice. It just felt like I had to do it. Or someone opened this door for me and I don't even know why I walked through it. I just did. And it's like, okay, first of all, you definitely made the choice to walk through the door. That was a little example that was an action. But that's why letting go came to mind. Even just the choice to let go is a choice. Mm-hmm. And it is or isn't arguably an action, right?
And say more of what one might be letting go of.
I'm imagining like an addict at a fucking intervention or a fucking person who is in the depths of despair or like people are coming to try to help. Mm-hmm. And someone finally like relinquishes and allows help in.
So relinquishes soul control.
Yeah. And it goes back to what you were saying of just like you're trying to control something when you're trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm not even going to try to figure this out anymore. I'm beyond unwell and am willing. I mean, I guess that's the whole funny part about the word willing with free will. It's the willingness to allow in the free will.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's like, exactly it, man. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about willingness before and how just fucking clutch it is.
Yes.
To just, when the willingness train comes by, fucking jump on.
Yeah.
Just don't think, just jump. But also, I just wanted to talk about like the choice to let go. Because I can't find a better word for it right now, but it's been a fucking game changer for me. 1,000-fold game changer. And not just like letting go of control, but letting go of so many old ideas that weren't serving me. Many of which are just like ideas of like, I know how to do this, or I know how I like to do this, or I know what feels good, or I know that if XYZ happens in my morning, the rest of my day is going to go a certain way. Like the choice to let go of all that sit and just fuck around and find out.
Full circle. Tie it all together. FAFO. Totally. That's why I think free will is... I just think it's really great and exciting that we have it. And I think it's really funny that people are so caught up on it when they are.
Caught up in what way?
Trying to figure out if it's true or not.
Oh.
If there is free will or not.
Because if they can figure it out.
Right.
Then what?
But it just...
I actually want to know from someone. If you can figure this out, then what? Like, why are you trying so hard?
Fair. It reminds me of a friend that years ago was in a really tough spot and has had a lot of really challenging experiences in life to create this feeling of helplessness. And that helplessness translated into this curiosity around whether or not free will existed. I think because she felt so out of control of these like terrible things happening in her life.
Yeah. And there would be comfort in being able to attribute it all to fate.
Absolutely. And just be like, I didn't choose any of this.
Some relief.
Yeah. But then it ends up just turning into like fear and anger.
Right. It's not probably a sustainable place to stay.
No, I mean, and I'm proud of her because now she believes in free will. Because I changed her mind to the right one. I'm just kidding.
You made the right choice, girl.
No, but I think that like, not just talking about her, this is overused, but just that it is that victim mentality all of us experience at some point in our lives.
Well, yeah.
It is. It's just like, well, I'm a victim to my circumstances.
No, absolutely.
Which was what was so interesting about Nick Viall. That's what he was trying to get at. I just keep bringing that example up because it was sort of what piqued my interest when you said free will before we started recording, because I needed to get this out somewhere because I was watching it alone, just like, I just want to be talking to him about it, because I felt like he would kind of understand what we're talking about right now and he would agree.
Yeah.
But it was just so badly. I feel
Nick
like
Viall, call us.
Seriously. I feel like so badly. There's a very strong pull right now to be anti-religion in every movement. And I feel like fate and destiny have often come from religious belief systems. Like those ideas of fate and destiny are baked into religion. Like you have a destiny, you have a fate.
I want to hear the rest of that. That's not ringing any bells for me, actually.
Okay.
But I also wanted to say, like, what you're saying, just a quick interjection to what you said a moment ago, what you're saying about the victim mentality, that's the same thing that I was talking about before with, like, taking responsibility for your thoughts. If a person is faced with being able to take responsibility on that level, they can no longer find comfort in being a victim in any way.
Yes.
That option is off the table.
Yes.
And most people, and not some people, most people don't want that.
And I don't
Or they're
want
just
that
not
is
aware.
strong. I think what happens is because then they go the opposite direction. Like, where, well, if I have
You're
to
right.
take any responsibility, then it's going to mean that I'm at fault for the things that happened.
Right, which again,
I
fault
made the
and
wrong
blame
choice.
are not part of this.
Right. If you're going to, and that's the bottom line.
Right.
Like, that's
when I said
where
they
it
don't,
starts.
they don't want to, that was too strong. It's like,
They're scared.
right. And aren't there yet and haven't had the opportunity to create space for the nuance of it all yet.
Right. Because it's not about blame and fault. Like you and I feel adamantly about this.
Yep.
It is not about that. Take that out. Because also you're just blocking yourself from trying to consider your own free will and your own
Power.
Because it doesn't mean that it was your fault bad shit happened to you, you know, that you made the wrong choice. Or maybe you made a choice that got you in a shitty situation. So what? I guess it's more like now we can't even acknowledge it or talk about it without emotion because we're so emotional about now having to blame ourselves. That's just shame. And it just keeps you in the same cycle. If I have to take responsibility, then I have to actually like blame myself for that terrible thing that happened because I made a choice to be there that night, you know, or something.
And also I think it's really hard. It took me a long time to learn this. And I think it's a big ask still for a lot of people in different headspaces. But you make a choice and then something bad happens. That's kind of for me where it kicks in with not destiny or fate, but like purpose, maybe. And just my personal belief is not as black and white as everything happens for a reason, but that everything that happens for me in my world has value. And whether that is to very clearly show me an experience that is in stark contrast to what I actually want in life, like to put that in high relief for me and get really zeroed in and focused on like, okay, this thing that just happened, I don't want that. And that clarity is purpose. So even if it's a bad thing, quote unquote, I just feel so, I don't even know what the word is. I find a lot of joy in my belief that there is purpose in everything.
Absolutely.
And much of that purpose is above my spiritual pay grade. I am not meant to understand what that is.
Totally.
Definitely in the moment and perhaps ever.
Definitely.
But please go back to fate and destiny
Being
from
tied to religion.
Religious, yes.
I'm surprised you don't.
I know,
Like
I'm
manifest destiny. Wasn't that like a religious thing?
Was it?
Okay, wait, let's look it up. I'm pretty sure. And like fate is like Hinduism. I'm fairly certain.
Okay.
Okay, well, manifest destiny is fucking hilarious and gross and weird. But I'm trying to see like who came up with it. Manifest destiny was the idea that white Americans were divinely ordained to settle the entire continent of North America. But notice, I'll look further, but it's divinely ordained. Destiny.
Can you describe my face right now?
It's divinely disgusted and confused and WTF as fuck.
I don't want that.
U.S. President James K. Polk is the leader most associated with manifest destiny.
Yeah, he would.
But I feel like it's a creepy, inherently white Americans deserved this.
Well, that's that. I don't think that they were using the word correctly, though.
What do you mean? Using just destiny correctly?
Okay.
Well, here.
No, I think
let's look
I'm
up
missing
destiny.
something.
Yeah. Well, all I was trying to say, I am fairly certain destiny and fate are linked to religion. And I think that that's why, same as spirituality, people hear spirituality and they're like, ew, frou-frou. They hear destiny and fate and they think it's God related. And if you don't believe in God, then who the fuck is telling me what my path is? I don't think it's destiny. I think it's I choose. I think it's your choices. That was what I was getting from Nick. And I know Nick grew up, he talks about it a lot. He grew up in a religious family and he's very respectful of it now. He's not religious himself, but I like the way he approaches it. He does how I do, where it's my mom's still super Catholic and I don't fault her for it because the way she practices is very compassionate and kind and accepting and all that stuff. Not the Catholic norm. And so I have respect for it, but I have this distance. And I feel like for him, I could sense it. And I feel like that's a sense I get when people are like, there's no destiny, there's no fate. It's that feeling of that would be God. And that's not a thing.
That's so interesting. Okay. Yeah. And I wasn't saying that you were wrong, but it just wasn't ringing any bells. And I think.
What did you think where destiny and fate come from?
You know what? I don't even think that I thought about it, but I just know that there's been a really delightful crossover for me lately between a lot of the ambiguously spiritual stuff and also the Bible. What's his name? Aaron Abke. And then, I've been having conversations with my parents too. And there's just so much, to my understanding, in the Bible about free will and how we have it. So when you said fate and destiny are religious, the first religion I thought of was Christianity or Catholicism.
Right.
And my recent experience had shown me more free will within that rather than fate, destiny.
Certainly.
That's all.
Which I do know what you're talking about, which is also hilarious because they're so hypocritical because they're the ones that take away free will so easily and the most. Like Christians. I mean, it's very rules-based.
It's very fundamentalist.
It takes away it takes away your free will a lot of the time. If you're following their rules, you're not allowed to follow your own heart and your own thing.
That's true.
That's what I'm saying. It's completely a contradiction within Christianity.
That is the most predominant way that it is marketed.
Sure, they talk about free will in the Bible for sure.
Okay, no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
because you did say, I get your point though, because you were saying religion, and very often, or almost exclusively, religion is different than the way it's being executed.
Yes.
And the way it's being executed is very different than what is written and actually was the intention.
I'll look into it later for sure. But here on Britannica, it says destiny, fate, and lot. Oh, lot in life. Destiny, fate, and lot mean a future that someone or something will have. Destiny and fate both suggest that the future has been decided or planned by God or by some godlike power. Destiny often suggests a future that includes something great and important. And then there's also, what is the Bible? The Bible meaning of destiny. This is from Biblical Concept of Destiny, Our Savior's Church, whatever. Our destiny is God's purpose for our lives. It is our God-ordained future. Destiny is what God has destined us to become in His divine will and wisdom. Each of us is also destined to play specific roles in the ordering of His word.
Oh, okay.
Right. So that's where it always, that was the point I was originally trying to make. It was co-opted in a lot of religious ways.
There it is.
You and I definitely agree on the fact that the seeds of every religion are beautiful and cool.
Yes.
And a lot of us could be served to go back and look at it for ourselves, the trap of what we've experienced for generations and the trauma around religion is the way it was executed, like you were saying.
Right.
These concepts are religious, free will and destiny. Because I'm glad you brought up the free will thing. I forgot. Of course. You're totally right. That's huge in Christianity. It's just actually crazy to say that out loud. Because I'm saying it out loud and I'm like, LOL.
Well, yeah,
that
because
is
that's
not the
not
fuck
what
how they act.
we've seen executed. Yeah.
And, you know, they, I say loosely. But that's where I actually think that they are onto something. I think both exist. And we always have this like versus conversation.
Because as you're reading out the definition of whichever one it was,
Totally.
preordained by God.
Totally.
Yes. And
Yes.
there is a level of participation
Yes.
that we are responsible for.
Right.
As human beings, for whatever fucking reason, intellect, consciousness, I don't know. Energetic, biomagnetic field in your heart. I don't know why. But there's the God thing happening with fate and destiny. This is my understanding of it, and it is correct. There's the God element of it, and then it's also like, am I choosing to participate or not? Like, what choices am I making to participate?
Totally.
Which part am I participating in? And that's where it comes back to the whole fucking quantum infinite possibility thing.
So in the alien circles,
I
have to figure out a better way to talk about this for real for listeners so that I don't just lose you immediately. But like, I follow a lot of alien circles. But no, for real, like
stick with it.
Just like
They're
extraterrestrials, extra dimensionals are absolutely real. We all know they're real. We're just like, love you, I don't know. And also I'm poor and broke and can't feed myself, so I'm a little distracted. That's just people right now. But that is definitely explored a lot within those circles, and in something that I resonate with, of connecting with larger consciousness knowledge than what has previously been taught to us, and that we all have that ability to connect to the larger parts of ourselves and our own consciousness and the consciousness of everything, because that's what we are.
Of everything that exists.
Yeah, and we all have it within us. So it's not like you're born. I remember when I was a kid, I thought you had to be born with special gifts. You had to be born with clairvoyance or mediumship, all that stuff. And that all got, the clairs. There's some funny
There's some
ones.
wild ones.
There's some really
They're
fun
great.
guys. Look up the clairs. You know, if you think clairvoyant's the only one, no. Clairsentient, to know. Clairaudient. No, clairvoyant is knowing. Clairsentient is, I'm sorry, I'm going to stop. Anyway.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Because
they're interesting.
There was another very cool term that Greg dropped on me the other day. I don't remember what it was, but it was something about, it's like a quantum entanglement thing.
Yeah.
With remote viewing.
Yes.
And I'm not.
That's the first
I'm not
episode.
going to remember.
Okay.
I watched all the seasons out of order, so
Holy
I don't
moly.
even
Okay.
know. But please continue.
Anyway, Gaia subscribers, go check out Missing Links with Greg Braden. Anyway,
My friend Greg. He has
our
great
friend
hair and
Greg.
has since like the 60s.
You ain't wrong. But anyway, reading that was actually really interesting because, again, you and I both know religions are onto stuff. I just don't agree with. They really are. I just don't agree with the way they've been practiced. And to go back to my original fucking Nick Vile point, I see it in people that talk the way he talks. He may accept religion to a point at this point as something other people do. And that's cool. I'm not like wanting him to be religious. I'm not, religious in that organized religion sense. But it's then that overcorrecting to get rid of any spirituality.
Oh, absolutely.
And so you have to put free will and destiny against one another, because I'm telling you, they're thinking of destiny and fate as a God thing. And then they're like, but I don't believe in God. Or God's not a thing. Or I don't follow a religious God. God hates me. Right? No, it's just more like this. Oh boy.
I'm sorry, it's just so funny.
Like that is just so categorically untrue that it is. I can't stop giggling. God loves me so much.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've made my fucking point, but
I have a tattoo of it.
Oh my God.
Just kidding.
She's not kidding.
Shut up.
I'm beating a dead horse, but
no, you're not at all. You're making so many.
Oh, but this is what I was going to say. The alien community. Speaking as an alien.
Beating a dead alien.
Here's where I think that something that has helped me, because I personally am not big on using the word God. It does not bother me. You use that word. Mm-hmm. And I totally know what you're talking about. I know we're kind of saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. Also, each individual has their own individual experience and relationship with higher self, higher power. There's the word. There it is. So it's just words and just frameworks. It's just human shit.
Whatever gets you to the end result.
Absolutely.
Call it whatever the fuck
So
you
for me,
want.
it's like I call it universe. Like once in a while source, but I usually say universe. But I'm really into my higher self thing because I think that helps me connect to my God-likeness, you know? And I think that this is out there. Plenty of people agree with me, but I'm saying many of our listeners will be like, what? But I do think we know we're coming here before we come here to Earth. I really think we choose to come here. And a lot of people hate that idea. Hate it. Because they're like, why the fuck would I choose to come to this trash hole? That's what is huge in the zeitgeist right now. Like, why would I choose to come here? But anyway.
Sure, why not?
Sure, why not? Because you can follow your best friend. So I think you choose to come here. And I do think when you choose to come here, your higher self is aware, along with other powers and other forces and the consciousness of the universe, a path that would be best for your soul growth before you come. So there's like markers, maybe making it up, but like maybe like bigger and smaller milestones throughout your life that like me and my higher self, if I'm working with it, we're going to get to those milestones.
Right. If you're participating,
If I'm
with
participating.
whatever higher power there is.
Right. And then you want to get scientific, sure. Like the quantum field stuff, that's what it is. It's like literally right there. It's baked in. That's the whole point. That is the universe. So like talk to any scientist. You and I aren't making this up.
Don't talk to any scientist.
Don't talk to any scientist. That's a great point. Thank you for catching
Fauci. Just kidding.
that. Ooh, shots fired. It's fair. But like, I do think it's all about growth. Everything is about growth. So when you come to this planet, you do already have a sense of where it'd be coolest to go, kind of like, you know, loose language. Be like, this would be really cool if we could get this done with our soul this time around. Like, we're going to really go for these markers. Let's see if we can work in tandem. Let's see what this human does with it.
And I think that's where like the calling of your heart comes into play.
Right. 1,000%.
And I think I differ a little bit as far as like external forces or whatever in beliefs or understanding or whatever. But I do know that for me, it's like, I know that my soul chose to come be a person at this time in this place with the family, like chose it. For what reason, I don't fucking know. And I'm not really meant to ever know. All I'm meant to do is follow those callings as they come, because those are like the markers that you're talking about.
Definitely.
Like those are the guiding path.
Yes.
Of what is best for my soul. Like that's why we get callings, and that's what we experience them as humans, I believe, because there was a whole big purpose.
Totally. And I would say it's truly not trying to like change your mind or like make us agree more, because I mean, I'm right. But I think my belief in the fact that it is all for growth feels like a knowing, because of like what you said earlier about everything that happens has value. And I'm not saying I need an answer. I'm just saying logically, in a way that I think is useful, what logically would value mean other than growth? Like, I think it's kind of the most valuable thing. So it just makes sense to me that if we had a path, if we have heart callings that get us onto that path, that help us towards this plan or whatever the word is, it just makes the most sense to me, especially because it happens no matter what you do. That's why I don't even think it's like necessarily like a reason. Like, I don't need a reason. I just think it's like true that it's for growth, because I think no matter what, even if you came to this life and quote unquote fucked it up as hard as you could, you will have grown by the time you die. Like,
absolutely.
Just without even trying. So that's why I just feel like logically, or some sensing knowing in me, is that it's because it's all for growth.
Right.
So you'll either do like this much growth or this much growth. That's fine.
Right.
But you're going to grow no matter what. You're going to leave with a ton of lessons no matter how you lived your life.
Absolutely.
And so if you start to open your heart and start to work with the higher energies and forces, you're just going to grow that much more.
Sure.
So that's where the idea comes from for me, that like the point is growth. Not because I need a point. I just think it's true. Like, I don't even need it. I just think it is. Like, it just is.
Yeah.
Because everything's growing in the universe. Like, that's the whole point.
Hashtag expansion.
Right. It's expanding. It's growing. It's learning.
Everything.
It's seeing itself.
But I have a question though, real quick before I lose sight of this. Which of that were you saying that was you were trying to change my mind?
Oh, I thought
'Cause
you
I
were
feel like
saying you
everything-
didn't need a point, and I'm not trying to make you have a point, but I thought you were saying like I don't need to know why this is happening. So I thought you were saying like I don't know whether or not it's for growth.
No.
Got it.
Absolutely, it's for growth.
Got it.
I mean, intellectually,
Sure.
I don't need to know like why this is happening or why did
Yes.
my soul choose
Yes.
this or why is this my path? Like,
Yes.
no, absolutely. It's
And you're also
1,000
better at that than I am.
What?
The non-attachment stuff. It's like your whole new jam for like years
It
now.
is my
It's
whole
going to
new
be your
jam.
jam for the rest of your life. So I already can
Because
tell.
it's way better than anything else.
Right. So your jam is non-attachment, which like, please like give me more of it because I need to work on that. And my jam is like, I do like to come back to intellectualizing because my highest enthusiasm comes from having conversations with other people and trying to help them see stuff like this.
Right. And
you know?
I'm so hard non-attachment that I'm just like, I don't even want to talk to you about it. Fuck it. I'm
Right.
straight.
No, right. Right. And so for me, it's like I like finding what feels right when I'm saying it so that if I were to talk to somebody else that needs that nudge, I have that in my back pocket.
No, and that's hugely important. Like somebody's got to be doing that and somebody's got to be doing this.
100%.
You know? Wait, but like with that, fuck, this is so juicy.
There.
Oh, I do remember something I was going to say
Yeah.
though, which is that this is something for another episode, but this idea of growth,
Yes.
when we're talking about it right now, there is a difference between soul growth and expansion versus like growth along the cerebral human
100%.
perspective
1000%.
of like growing in your career and growing in your whatever
Money and
whatever growing your trust
business.
fund. I don't fucking
Yeah,
growing
like-
your business.
Growing your family.
Yeah. Not that.
No. And that
I mean,
in
not
a
that
less attached way.
specifically. Sure. And,
No,
and
I'm
not
just-
that
yeah.
specifically
Not that
because I
specifically.
think
No, 100%.
also for someone that is perhaps so attached to all of that attachment again.
Hi, it's me.
I
It's
was
me. Hi. No, I'm stating that.
Oh, okay.
I am. And I'm struggling with it right now.
But I mean, like for someone that is so attached
Yeah.
to that has achieved all that and is well-intentioned trying to grow
Yes.
and to just make all those things bigger, actually for them growth might be in a completely different direction.
Agreed.
That has nothing to do with that. So growth is going to look different for everyone on a soul level.
Agreed. Well, and then I will say this, which is what I was trying to say before to tie it together. You're totally right. And I know, and I know you'll agree with me on this right away, but no judgment to the people who do just live that, not just, that sounds so fucking condescending, but who do live those lives where they are focused on that sort of linear, cerebral, these inherited belief systems we have of like growing in that way. Because they're also growing a lot through that experience soul-wise. Because, and I know you agree with me, but I just want to make this point. Even someone who has a really difficult life and makes some really poor health choices for themselves and then dies when they're 45, on the soul side, be like, oh shit, I just learned so much from that shit.
Oh, yes.
Like, there's no way to do it wrong, is all I'm also trying to say, genuinely. I think
Yes,
it's
and
just,
that brings us back
yeah,
to the
there's
whole
no way to
point
do
of
it
this whole
wrong.
fucking thing.
Right.
You can't do it wrong.
You can't do it wrong. And I think it's just, we have a drive. I know I have a drive to like talk individually people, but you wouldn't be doing this podcast if you didn't have a drive to help people as well.
Oh, absolutely. I
Right.
just don't want to do it on an individual.
No, I know. You hate it. Don't stop.
I like people. I just don't like being around them.
Yeah, totally. But that's what's the paradox. I'm not trying to fight for people to like live a certain fucking way. I just, as you and I know, I think the way to change the planet for the better is to help individuals find joyful ways to live or to open those pathways for themselves so that the planet can get better.
Yes.
But I also think that it's not like everyone needs to fucking do it. And some people are going to still have those lives that I might be like, I don't want that life. But like, who am
Right.
I?
And like it wouldn't appear to us to be
Totally.
growth or whatever, but like It is.
And it's their journey to figure out. Some people might be miserable their entire fucking lives. And that sucks. And I just don't want that. I don't love that idea.
Right.
Here, right now, I don't love that idea. But if I were dead, I'd be like, hey, good for you. Here, welcome back.
Yeah. Great job.
Good job. You did it. Okay, cool. What'd you learn? Tell us all.
Yes. And this reminds me of that thing that I think you sent me the other day. Okay, let's end with this because this is what this reminded me of.
Okay, we're ending with this. What did it remind you of?
This is Mimi sent us all the other day.
Oh, okay.
This is what I'm going to put on the wall for us.
Okay.
I just discovered ominous positivity and I'm obsessed. You will be fine. You have no choice. Everything will turn out okay. You cannot stop it. You will succeed. It's inevitable. Better days are already coming. It's too late now.
Now that's some toxic positivity right there. I'm just kidding.
That is not toxic.
I'm kidding.
That's true.
I am joking. I'm totally joking. I'm telling you, the cynics out there, that's all they hear.
That's true. That's fair.
I don't believe that. I sent it to you.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely true.
And that's what I think reminded me of it. It was just like, you can't do it wrong.
Yeah. On a soul level, you can't. And I think it's really hard when I think humans often cannot tap into that. And when they can't is when life is a lot harder here. Then that sucks. And I think we've all seen it for generations. And I think you and I have experienced it the first part of our lives and kind of came out of it. And now we're like seeing this other truth and trying to like spread the word. That's kind of the word I'm trying to spread, where it's just like, it doesn't mean you just believe it right away. You don't read it and it just becomes true, because you have to do some legwork to get there.
Oh my God, no, there's dozens and dozens of layers that had to be laid in order for this to resonate.
Right. It just is also always true for everyone. It's just, it's the paradox. It's literally available for everyone. It's literally our birthright.
Right. And I think that's why I feel compelled to have these conversations with you and share it with anyone that wants to listen, or when I have the energy to engage in conversation with individuals. It's because like it just feels so much better.
Right.
And
it
like
just feels better.
And I've done it so many other ways. And this is the one that just feels so fucking good.
Yeah.
To believe that like no matter what, everything's already working out.
Right.
In miraculous ways I can't even conceive of with my baby human brain.
It really is. Our baby human brains have been programmed to get in the way. So,
yeah.
Deprogram AF. Okay, I feel like I could talk forever today randomly, so.
Well, me too. We got onto something juicy.
It's true.
Everyone go watch The Matrix.
That juice.
We'll talk to you soon.
Also watch Civil War just to talk to me about it.
Just for shits. I will talk to anybody about The Matrix. She will talk to people
I do like
about
The Matrix a lot, though, too.
Civil War. Yeah, do you want to watch it later?
Okay. Good talk.
Great talk, man.
Great talk. All right. Love you guys. Thanks for being with us.
Bye, guys.
Go follow us and like us and share us and think about us. Click on us and send us
Maria
loving
podcast
vibes.
at Instagram.com. JKLOL at Other Maria Podcast. If you want to email us, it's othermariapodcast at gmail.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode,